So today is December 13th, 2022, and this is the meeting for the Halifax Conservation Committee. Present is Secretary Kimberly King, Steve and Colleen for a quorum. Kathy is sick and needed to leave, and Ed is out of town on vacation. And we call the meeting to order at 7:04. And again, my apologies for our starting late. 7 o'clock is 359 Plymouth Street. Notice of intent. 7:05 is 10 Twiglegs Drive. 7:10 is 416 Plymouth Street. Then we have discussions and actions to be taken. We have bills to be approved and signed, and we have secretarial and to review the in-office memos, other correspondences, and we have to approve meeting minutes. Under secretarial, we need to add the resignation of employees to Concom and read in the letter. And adjournment, and our next meeting will be after Christmas on the 27th. Is there anybody? So I assume a lot of people in the audience are also here for 359 Plymouth Street, correct? Is everyone here for 359 Plymouth?
So the advertisement is in the folder, Steve, if you see that, you could read that into the record, just describe the folder.
Where's the
Or anything to look like.
keyboard?
I didn't know that.
Sure. Just say when.
When?
Okay. Okay, we have a, all right, November 23rd, 2022, to Deb Anderson, Plimpton Halifax Express, from the Conservation Commission Secretary, Deborah Ballon. Please place the following ad in Plimpton Halifax Express on Friday, December 2nd, 2022. If you have questions, please feel free to call me. Thank you. Town of Halifax Conservation Commission. Notice is hereby given of a public hearing conducted by the Halifax Conservation Commission under the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Chapter 164 of the Town of Halifax Wetland Protection Bylaw on Tuesday, December 13th, 2022 at 7 p.m. in Meeting Room 1 at Halifax Town Hall to consider a notice of intent submitted by Paul Backus of Grady Consulting in Kingston, Massachusetts on behalf of applicant D'Angelo Duarte of East Bridgewater for the proposed development of a vacant lot located at 359 Plymouth Street, Halifax, Massachusetts. A bordering vegetated wetland extends across the property from the northeast corner. The applicant proposes to fill and replicate 1,170 square feet of the bordering vegetated wetland. The replication area will be situated in the northeast corner of the property adjacent to the existing bordering vegetated wetland, shown in Assessors Map 63 Lot 1A, Map 63 Lot 14, and Map 73 Lot 9. Copies of the filing are available at the Conservation Commission's office at the Halifax Town Hall per request via email or by calling 781-590-3872. Signed, Halifax Conservation Commission. File.
Grady Consulting.
Yep. Is there a preferred spot for me to stand?
I
can study away.
This will work. This will work for me.
All right.
That way I'll be on the phone.
Yep, I'm good.
Thank you, members of the commission. My name is Paul Backus with Grady Consulting of Kingston, Massachusetts, on behalf of the applicant, D'Angelo Duarte. As you mentioned here, for a notice of intent at 359 Plymouth Street in Halifax, Massachusetts. The proposed existing lot is a vacant lot with some vegetation and a wetland up in the northeast corner. The wetland extends into the lot like a little bit of a finger. This wetland delineation was approved by this commission back in July of 2018 and extended to July of 2024. The proposed site is to put in a contractor storage warehouse for a landscaping company. And because of the finger, the kind of finger that sticks out with the wetlands, the proposed project they're proposing to alter an existing portion of the existing wetland and replicate it up in the northeast corner. There's approximately a little bit over a 1-to-1 ratio in terms of replication. By doing so, the proposed site design can keep the impacts outside the 50-foot buffer, and additionally will keep a large majority of the impervious area outside the 100-foot buffer. In terms of erosion control will consult with a silt sock within the 100-foot buffer around a setback of the new proposed wetland to help during the construction staging. And with that, I guess I can open it up to any questions that the commission may have.
Does the commission have anything against me reading in our wetland replication bylaws to all of our guests in the office as quickly as possible, so they understand what we're also voting on between where it's a replication and it's not just the Clean Water Act, say the Endangered Species Act, our Wetlands Protection Act, and all of that. Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to just pass it?
Would you guys like me to read it in our replication bylaws, all 3 pages, or would you like us to make copies and hand them
Everybody can
out?
have one.
Does it matter?
It's probably more impactful for them to read it than to listen to it one time.
Yeah.
Because we're going to try to read as fast as we could because to save time and.
True, I just want everyone to understand, and that's where the commission comes from. And we do have them. Does the board have any questions?
I don't.
If there's a large drainage area, how do you plan on protecting the drainage area and the wetlands from the commercial use and the business use? And do we know exactly what the business is going to be used for and what the storage sheds are going to contain?
So the main building is going to consist of a small office area and three units with a small office area for each unit. Construction equipment will be kept inside, kind of like a garage in the rear, so it's out of sight of the public. On site, the general gravel areas on site will be used for storage of materials, loam, stone, sand, general landscaping materials, that type of thing.
So all of that stuff needs to be outside of the 100-foot buffer too. And I don't know about my other board members, but I'd also like to see it, if it's approved, be covered and stored properly so it doesn't affect the wetlands area and our protected areas that are over there, and also comply with our stormwater management policies and our stormwater bylaw policies over in that area.
We have submitted a stormwater report to the planning board for their review and approval.
Could you please send that to conservation, because conservation under our bylaws is actually oversees stormwater management. So that would have been helpful for us to have tonight as conservation.
So the same thing, price.
This is kind of the same.
Okay.
I was looking at what type of building it is, the rendering of the buildings and what type of, because a lot of landscape places have a lot of that stuff stored outside in like a 3-sided open situation, so the trucks can back up and load and unload. And if that's the case, then you're talking about rainwater getting in there and draining and running off where? Unless it's all going to be proposed inside. I mean, if it's all going to be stored 100% inside on top of the slab,
And
then in that case, then the runoff to the storm runoff is a lot less of an issue. But if, I mean, there's going to be outside storage, you know there is. whether it's on the plan or not. I mean,
Do you know if they're gonna have outside storage
of any materials.
and of any materials?
Yeah, material will generally be stored outside. There is, the proposed drainage system, there is, on some of the later pages, there'll be underground dry wells that will be, there'll be oil and grit separators. And then it'll also have the grass swale as well as the detention pond for treatment and infiltration before any overflow is discharged towards the wetland.
Yeah, I have to agree with Steve, though. If it's still just a three-sided building, we still have the potential with the New England weather to affect the
And,
wetlands.
what's the roof made of? Because you've got one of your roof drains going directly into the existing runoff drainage ditch. It runs right off, it's about, I can't tell exactly how long it is, but it literally goes and just dumps into this drainage area.
Right, that's.
The other one goes into the, your underground catch, probably into this septic drain, that one there. But literally, that looks like it's, you only got 2 roof drains, and you got 3 roof drains. 2 of them go into tanks, or appear to go into tanks, and the third one just goes into that drainage area.
So with that pointed out, Steve, we can't approve anything that runs into the wetlands.
Yeah, see,
And, yeah.
this drain, actually 3
It's
drains.
against
So
the
that's-
Wetlands Protection Act and it's against the Clean Water Act. And-
That is an infiltration basin, it's not the wetland.
Gotcha.
And then so this is the.
Gotcha. The
Yeah,
proposed wetland is heat back here.
yes, so the proposed, I'm trying to do it for
So,
everybody.
where's the delineation on this one?
Do we have the wetland delineation?
Right here, you have
report?
the 50-foot wetland replication, the proposed setback.
Correct.
Right.
And so within that area, there's no detention areas, there's no drainage areas, there's no components of the site that will be the natural growth. It'll be outside of the area that has to be disturbed to construct a new replicated wetland. That general area will be left alone. You can see the proposed tree line there. But those outlets that you're referring to, they're going to an infiltration basin that'll store the water, allow for infiltration, and then it also treats the required amount. And then there's a weir that I think, if I remember from the stormwater report correctly, only within a 100-year storm. It would contain up to 25-year storm. I think it's only a 100-year storm would it actually top.
Do you guys have a wetlands delineation report already on top of the stormwater that you gave the plan?
The replication plan? Yes, we included it within our line.
So it's this.
So it's here now.
That's where it is now.
That, move it
Yeah.
up here. And you think it's going to be possibly 2024.
Did the planning board have any conditions for you that they wanted under chapter 253? Because our conservation bylaws in the state and federals, there's some overlap in chapter 253. Was there anything that planning board had for conditions of you when, has the planning approved this view yet?
We are meeting with planning board on Thursday. They have submitted 2 comments that did not involve chapter 253.
Excuse me, what's 250?
It's a chapter of Halifax's bylaws
Okay.
for new development. I'm thinking where it hasn't come in front of planning to let the residents be heard. and then potentially continuing this to our next meeting to see what planning has to say. How do you feel, Steve?
We should.
Yeah, I thought most.
Hear everything that the board
I thought
has to
most
say.
things had been doing that, we had been doing that. I thought we had requested that before, to have it go before planning first.
We have, but there's a lot of, we've got to get,
There's a lot of crossover.
there's a lot of crossover, so what we need to do, because the planning board's elected and has no oversight. Conservation is appointed by the Board of Selectmen. And we just need to ask the selectmen, now that we have a new board and things, how they prefer it to be, whether it comes to conservation first, because we have to follow chapter 253. But planning is actually the authority of chapter 253. Yet there's so much overlap because conservation oversees stormwater management, our stormwater bylaws, and all of that, to see which boards actually should have first say in it. So there's not a lot of overlap, mistakes made, or having the people that put the applications in front of us doing extra work. Colin, do you have anything else you want to add?
No.
The detail. Yeah, I think like in the past, we should look and see what planning and zoning has to say, 'cause I'd like to do a site visit, but I don't know when I can do that. I'd like to walk out there and see this existing wetland. What are we really looking at? Is there a stream there? Come springtime, is there a stream there?
Excuse me.
Or
I
are we
have
really
some
just looking at like,
pictures.
are we really just looking at like,
Okay, she has pictures.
nice,
you
I'd
can look
love to
at
see
too.
those.
So I'm not in a butter, but I live over in that side, and I'm well aware of what's off into the woods, how the other things were, whether there might have been blockage to other wetlands and different things there. But also on that side of town, because I've been here since 2001, also know that there used to be a lot of farms and other things, and there's
Yeah.
a lot of man-made venom pools and old, my elders may be able to help me with the proper word I'm looking for.
Drainage underground.
Well, yeah,
The
that's what,
old feeding, watering holes and things like that, that I know that were out there.
that
and I
were
know they
just
were
done by the
trenches, but-
farmers, like that's
Yeah.
what this looks like. You took the pictures, who took the pictures?
I did.
So what is this?
That's the culvert.
Oh, this is.
Oh, look at
That's
that. Hey,
actually-
read the back.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
is there a steel pipe in there put in there? Is that like was that to feed livestock when it was a farm?
That's
Something the
about
farmer just-
36-inch
Yeah.
drain pipe.
What does it drain to?
Look like aluminum. Goes into,
They have
The wetlands.
yeah, it goes into the reservoir down
What
here.
I'm showing is the wetlands are all clogged up.
right?
Is this your turned it in with the
363,
Oh, you're
I'm right
copy
here.
of the,
Right.
I've got my
right
21.
here. So this is the wetlands where it goes.
Okay.
Right.
This is coming out the other
Um,
side.
but-
This is going in
That's
from
why I was
this
asking, so we
drainage
technically
ditch.
don't have.
So this,
Well, I think
where it
coming
drains to is where? Here?
Yeah, it's further down, but
Okay.
it's all backed up.
One of the pictures looks
So
like
my
India.
concern,
Yeah.
why I'm here
Yeah.
is water.
When I'm
Yeah.
done.
That crossover
Yeah.
is
Right,
down
once
here.
it gets,
That's down.
once this gets redone, it's gonna be done properly. And I understand your concern. Is it now gonna drain? Because
No.
it seems like
It's
It's
from,
standing water.
right now it appears to be standing water that.
Yeah, well, the point
I'm wondering
is-
if that's all clogged up and that's why it doesn't drain properly.
right, from the point is this goes.
Where's this culvert
This
on
is
this map?
Morse, this is Morse down here.
Okay,
Yeah.
Morse goes down to Morse's Morse Brothers,
okay,
goes into their irrigation pond.
yep,
This,
I know exactly where that is. That's the irrigation pond that's behind Walmart's parking
and
lot.
about,
No,
I'd say,
stop shop.
Stop and shop, I mean, yeah.
about 150 feet back here.
Okay,
maybe
so where's
200
this
feet,
culvert?
is- that's
on
where
this
the
map?
That's where the culvert is, it's across where the water runs down to that.
Okay.
This is all
And
plugged
back
up.
at Dunkin' Donuts,
Okay.
there's a little, it looks like a little bridge.
Yeah.
And that's where that culvert is, and it goes across into the other wetlands.
So my question is for the culvert, has anyone, because that's not on conservation, but has anyone contacted the highway department,
Yeah.
or this is gonna be really strange to hear as the public, and I kid you not, the mosquito control projects
Yep.
for free will
'Cause
do
it's-
it.
'cause-
And if you call Plymouth County Mosquito Control Project, they can put it on their list.
Can I,
It's, did,
They came down and they said, oh, no mosquitoes.
how long's,
Oh, really?
Yeah, they didn't see any larvae, so they didn't say anything.
But there was all scum on the water, but
So you guys live here?
they know it, they,
There, I think she.
but a hand
I'm over
clearing
here.
would be done in the
This is
winter, it wouldn't be done in the
If you
summer.
got
How
They're
long
busy spraying for viruses.
has it been standing?
another picture
Since
here.
Dunkin' Donuts went in,
Oh, really?
it got worse.
Change it, yeah.
It's gradually over the
Yeah.
last 20 years or so,
Yeah.
it needed to be dredged,
Yeah.
and nobody ever did. So when Dunkin' Donuts went in, even with their mitigation of the
So
water,
this wetland
it's got it
delineation
standing.
was done in 2018.
Yes,
This,
So-
this wetland delineation here that we see
So-
that is the existing wetland.
right.
My question is,
I'm thinking because it's an extension, and it's an extension on an order that has expired, that the board today requests a wetlands delineation peer review, do site visits, and continue it to after planning. I will
Yes, till
call,
after the planning
I
is
will
done.
call on you as soon as these guys are done with the board.
All right,
I
this
just want to
line
make sure
right here.
everybody's
Okay.
heard and you guys can
This
hear
is
your fellow
Dunkin'
neighbors.
Donuts here.
yeah,
This-
yes, because I think
This
there might be some other people that might
runs
have some
down.
information.
No, their hands are up,
This
that's
is,
why. I'm not ignoring you.
Morse Brothers in here, the bogs. This runs down
So-
to there.
I'm not claiming to be a wetlands expert or a drainage expert or
We
any
need,
of that,
we need,
however.
we need the wetlands delineation peer
Yes.
review done.
So this,
If they're, my thought was if they're adding more water to it from the whole thing, there's no absorption of the water,
Well,
then they're adding to what's already standing there.
so they're looking to do a replication, and Deb, would you mind doing us a huge favor?
all right.
Can you go into the kitchen area on
this
that
is
one
out-
and make,
outside
how many would like copies of the
area
wetland
being
delineation
talked about
bylaw?
here.
So this is actually, I think this, the wetlands are.
Yeah,
Jeremy,
I remember it.
just so they understand
Yeah.
what, because,
have you seen these?
Can read it over if you have any
Down
questions.
here.
yeah, because it will,
Here's the
It'll-
existing wetland.
This is,
Right.
this is a little bit older,
This is
I'm
the
not sure if
proposed
it's
note.
online yet.
Yeah.
And if we
Going
hand
this
you the
way.
copy,
Oh,
you'll
where's-
have the
where's the
exact
proposed note? Somewhere?
information. And
Right.
maybe
Right.
understand what we're talking about a
Right.
little bit better when we talk about numbers and things like that.
I got it, I
That's
think.
the ones
Right here.
that they
What's this?
filled
Right here?
in the side when they put that, they filled in.
Because it's so confusing looking at that.
It is.
To tell what's where. So there's a house back here, right? So they're proposing to put it in here, right?
yeah, this is
So-
right beside Dunkin' Donuts.
Right.
That's where this plant.
And it drains into that reservoir.
Okay, that reservoir drains.
Okay, my thoughts,
Under 11th Ave.
Thing is, it's all plugged up.
my thoughts are we need to go back.
Hold on, Steve, because everyone else behind you can't see.
That goes through, like this, somebody years and years ago put a rope on,
Once you get it done.
Yeah.
Didn't exist.
And the pipe is running two-thirds of this report.
That's-
Look at all these
Yeah,
previous
yeah.
surfaces here. For, a long time ago. It's all the
Drains
drains through. It's running off the
Properties that
I'm
have
telling
drained
you,
into
I
the
wanna, I wanna do.
You know what I mean?
Trees tipped over.
I'll call mosquito control.
Thumping all.
So hold on, because we
So-
can do it by vote.
Slowing everything
Right.
down.
So I will do
This-
I use a new
I know.
This
I
drains
will call
eventually
it
right here.
because
There's a culvert here on 11th
the
Ave.
hand clearing's done in the winter, it's not done in the summer.
Yes, no,
So
absolutely.
and remind them now,
It flows.
and I'll
It's
talk
just-
to highway, because highway, if highway or the board of health call too,
There's one was,
or if we could call and request it, they will come out and meet with us as a
So-
town,
This
not a
all
resident.
Sir, I just would like to talk, where are you guys from? Other butters or no?
So you guys, are you within the 300 feet? So they are abutters.
Okay, so,
Time out one, excuse me, sorry. Steve would like to address the audience, so you can
You guys-
all hear.
you guys are familiar, who's very familiar, you've lived there how long, across the street?
Since '64.
How long is this, the existing wetland, how long has it actually been a wetland?
I don't know as far as over there.
I have a theory where the standing water is. How long has the standing water been there?
Well, it's,
right.
Dunkin' Donuts, it actually stands now that Dunkin' Donuts is there.
But prior to that, you didn't ever notice that it was just sitting
It
there?
would dry
It would
at
get wet
certain
and it would get dry.
times.
Right.
But it doesn't.
Okay.
It was more of a meadow or
Right,
swamp-like
right.
area than it was.
No, it's a ditch, it's an actual.
Yeah, you can see that
It's an
it is like-
actual, right
And it just
away
fills
for
with water.
water.
This is the pool, but you can actually see, that's a pretty good picture of this.
So,
If you go down there, you
so
can see.
is everybody familiar with the fire department? And if you're looking at their building, you go to the right, there's a little bridge that goes over a small creek. And this looks very similar to that and the same problem.
Yeah.
And the mosquito control project did clean it out for the town.
I've called them twice.
It'll be a little different when the boards start calling.
All the boards start calling.
So,
I'm new. Some of you don't know that, I've only been in
I'll
town
wait
for
for
a
the
couple of
board to
years.
vote before I make promises to the public.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that was my concern, that the water is gonna, when you, in theory, when all that water comes through those,
Right,
swales or whatever they call them, then it goes and it reaches into the wetlands, it's gonna add to that,
Right.
making, and they tried to mitigate it when they did Dunkin' Donuts, but it didn't work, because now it just sits there, and nobody has dredged it or anything else. So I don't know if someone could give Morse an incentive to do it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not against Morse having to take care of their problems if they're creating them.
Yeah, like.
And I don't think anyone on the board is, but I am not gonna go down that rabbit hole right now because Morse is not here to represent them.
Who's, that culvert, whose property is that on? Morse. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
So,
One of these guys on the site, across the street.
Is there enough for
So-
everybody?
I was just asking them, just to get an idea.
I haven't forgot because the gentleman in the plaid shirt still has
Raised his hand a couple of times as well.
So,
My thinking is.
so there may be some homework for us to do for yourself, you Mr. Grady.
This wetland is
Because if you don't have to do the extra work
Yeah.
40, 50
to
years ago.
mitigate it, it's a lot more less done. But if there is other issues
They've
that
been created.
we'll know after the plan. But you'll leave with a decent idea of what we can do and how we can help.
Look at the topography.
Having an issue in wanting to do the replica, do you guys have a decent relationship with Morse Brothers where you're abutting properties as the new owner who wants to develop over there?
You haven't met them? The applicants recently purchased the property, so I don't think a relationship has been established.
Okay.
And as Morse being in abutter to you, did you notify them?
We did the standard notification as part of this
Okay.
And
process.
according to town bylaws, it's within 300 feet, so they must have been notified,
Right.
right?
Concom's 100 feet, right? Planning board was 300 feet.
Yeah, but, right. Personally, it was, if I owned it and I would couch it this way, I'd ask them if they can, do they have to have the culvert looked at, or can they call the highway department where it's on their private property?
Technically, because the culvert is on Morse Brothers property, we should ask them to come in front of us and listen to their neighbors and the other abutters, the concern, because we don't want to disturb their private property, but we should
Right.
send Scott or somebody an email, and I know we have their information in file from
Well, just
what was occurring in the apps.
looking at it globally, I feel like if that culvert's causing an issue and causing this wetland to have standing water in it, you're actually gonna benefit Morse's operation by clearing that culvert out and feeding their reservoir that they use to irrigate their bog. So it would be in their benefit to work with them, be in both of your benefits.
That would require a notice and intent and other things from Morse though. So now we're asking another property owner to put in a notice of intent, let us know that this changes. And that's not something we
Yeah.
can force them to do.
Alright.
However,
Just a suggestion.
the new property owners and Grady can reach out to
Right.
Morse and see if they'd be willing to work with you.
Yeah.
Like, we can reach out as a health concern and with the neighbors, but because the complaint isn't in front of us for the actual address of the culvert, which belongs to Morse, we can't take action on it. But we can call the right to let them know and other things, but we are gonna have to get permission from Morse to let us onto their private property, because the complaint's not in front of us under Morse's address. The complaint's coming up underneath 359 Plymouth Street. And we understand that might add to it, but unfortunately, the photos aren't of 359 Plymouth Street. It's a different piece of property.
So there is one that goes up towards the street showing that part of the.
Yeah.
Standing the water in the,
That
that looks
going
like a
up-
ditch, yeah.
Yeah, going
That's-
up
that's
towards
this
that
property, yeah.
359.
And that's what that problem is.
The whole stream and ditch may need clearing out and a few other things. I do have suggestions as a board to vote on, but I want to finish hearing from the public. Can you state your name and address, please?
Sure. John Zimmer, South River Environmental in Marshfield. I actually delineated the wetland on the property back in 2018, and we did do a peer review with LEC that went and reviewed the wetland flags and approved them. So the approved water resource area delineation is good actually through 2024. So I don't think we need to go back and redo that because you have a valid order.
So I do know the property's not flagged anymore.
The flags may have come down, I mean, because
So
we could
so-
reestablish the flags out there before you do a
So,
sidewalk.
but there's been a lot of other work done since 2018 and other developments in buildings and other things that we have asked for the updated delineation because they're asking for an extension. It's already expired.
Well, it isn't, it's valid through 2020.
Their permits with the town are expired.
Whose permits?
The properties, not the new property owner, but this came in front of us 2018, it didn't stop. Your NI is new and it's asked for an extension, which is a waiver from the board.
So there was an order of conditions that was issued versus the
Yeah.
order of resource area delineation?
It was,
Okay.
and this is an extension, so therefore,
Okay.
we may or may not ask for an updated water delineations peer review
Okay.
for the fact that there are no flags up anymore. There is an order of conditions, we do not know if it was ever met. We do not know if all the other earth removal buildings and other things that have gone on has affected that area since 2018.
Okay, I thought you were speaking to the order of resource area delineation, so I apologize for that. Okay, and the only other comment that I'd like to make is when you go out there and take a look at it, it definitely was man-made. I mean, that there's a wetland up gradient to the north, and there's
Yeah.
a channel that's clearly dug out.
Yeah, and you can see there's like a half of us. That's why I asked if it was perhaps, a farmer just diverted some water for the livestock pond.
There's-
You know,
but-
That's probably
100 years ago.
what happened, but over time,
but-
it develops well.
Because you can see a half of a slate wall that's half buried there,
See, but our concern is, and I can understand that, but things are not grandfathered in.
Right.
Our bylaws don't allow it. As you're aware, all of our federal laws for the environment, clean water, and other are definitely not grandfathered in.
Right.
We have the strictest bylaws in town for conservation and stormwater. And the board that's here now, and none of us were here, Colleen might have been here in 2018, are new and want to make sure that things are done to the T with all of the new laws that are in place. And if your order of conditions don't meet what's been done, because laws have changed in 2020, 2021, there was some major overhaul in the Clean Water Act. So that order of conditions has to meet all the new laws as well. So, and we're not just gonna let, oh, how
No.
you doing, I'm sorry, but just because this is still good till 2024, doesn't do us much good. And you see, we have a lot of residents in our community that's concerned.
Sure.
And our job, being appointed to the board, is to look out for the community and be fair to the applicants. Anything else, Steve, Colleen?
No.
Would anyone, any of the other public like to speak? Yes, Jeremy?
Jeremy, I'm with you. A couple of questions, one for the board. Have you guys ever had any experience with property owners replicating wetlands?
No, I haven't.
Because I just moved here in 2018, so when you look around Stop and Shop and Walmart and stuff, you see what like appears to be kind of like replicated wetlands. But what ends up happening is they just get taken over by invasives first.
Yeah.
And if you don't maintain it, it's never going to be like a wetland. It's just going to be scrub brush.
It's just going to be
privet,
depression in the
thorn
land that collects
bushes.
water.
Yeah, it's not going to add any value or habitat,
Yeah.
like, you know? I was curious if anybody's had experience with
So
that.
I've had
process.
experience with it when I served with mosquito control and did wetland delineation. And Pembroke, as Jeremy pointed out, is a perfect example of wetlands that have been taken over, have been replicated again, that are just completely ignored after the fact.
Yeah.
And they cause more issues than they do any good. And I know a lot of people in town, maybe and may not hear, and myself will have problems with the stagnant water. I mean, every year we're high to extreme risk for Tripoli. There's human deaths of it. We've had spotted Rocky Mountain fever deaths that are non-travel related from the ticks. And we have some of the highest rates of alboviral disease there is. And I don't want to approve something that's going to make Mr. Valley and our Board of Health's job much more difficult either or endanger the public. But that also doesn't mean that I won't work with you guys. There's just going to have to be a plan in place where you maintain it.
One more question. So there used to be a row of intentionally planted street trees right here. They're still there on that property, but somebody cut them down the road. I mean, if you look at the stumps, they all went in a row. This was planned out street trees that looked nice at one time. So I was just curious what's going to happen to these large trees.
Actually, the town that planted those.
Yeah, and somebody cut them down the road.
They were all falling apart anyways, all rotten.
Huh?
They were all
They
rotten.
may have been, but the ones here aren't. They're still healthy trees, so just curious. Because this is an aesthetic here coming into town, you know, it helps break up all this commercial.
Well, not just
It
that.
does, and under chapter 253, which is the planning board's authority, it is in our bylaws that trees have to be planted with any new larger project, developments and things like that. And they have required it. For example, Hilda Lane was one where the planning board wanted either trees or something different done. But as conservation under our laws and with chapter 253, we could potentially, when different things come in front of us, ask for other things to be planted as the berries and things that may better benefit the town, possibly less maintenance, won't overgrow different areas, would actually be beneficial to the animals and insects and other things we have here in the environment.
So, what happens to the trees that are there? That was the question.
I can get in, I'll be getting in more into that with the site plan. A couple of them would come down due to the construction of the entrance, and I believe a couple of them would actually be removed to provide, proper sight distance down the street so vehicles can exit and enter safely.
Because if you're, again, looking at things globally, you've got the golf course across the street, partially across the street, and you take all those trees down, you're just gonna add to the wind and rain erosion problems that we don't have yet, but if you remove all those trees, you will. You know?
It won't matter if it's outside the buffer zone because on our bylaws in chapter 253, we'll be asking you to plant again because it's Halifax's bylaws.
But wouldn't it be on the planning board versus conservation?
Conservation and planning are together, and where we're talking about water delineation and other things, and we'll be asking for the delineation peer review, and where I will attend the planning board meeting and where we do discuss as boards, because that's what we do, we work together. The planning board will know that conservation wants them planted, and they will consider what we have to say, just as we consider planning. That's why we said we'll have this discussion, because I wasn't going to send the public home, see what we can do tonight, and we're not going to approve the project tonight, but we're going to have you come back after planning, because conservation and the planning board do have a lot to discuss, as you just pointed out. It's not whether one has the authority to vote here and one has the authority to vote here, when different things potentially, or laws may butt heads for the applicant to get around the loopholes. Our jobs as boards is to work together to make sure the residents in our community are protected. So, and I will make a note that you did bring it up as the environmental engineer, that both boards are responsible for different things, and to make sure there will be no loopholes that anybody can get through. And I personally don't think that, as one person, don't find it professional to try to get through the loopholes. And with that said, would anybody else from the public like to be heard? Deb, do you have any? Oh, sorry, young
That's
lady.
okay. It's all right. There was trees on both sides of the road on 106. But when they redone the road and put in the sidewalks, the trees had to come down.
Yeah.
Those trees over across where this project is, they were all like that. And they were all dry rotted anyways from inside.
Yeah.
So that's why they're not there anymore.
So I was just gonna ask you, Paul, if you have the green card, the abutter notice?
Yes, I do.
Okay, good.
Oh, yeah. I was going to ask that when we asked about it, when we do it certified.
That's what I received.
Can I see those real quick?
Yep.
Steve and I would be able to figure out if they did more spreaders.
Well,
They did.
I was gonna say, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, because by address, they're not. Because that's the back side of it.
Yeah,
But,
but they got them at their right spot in East Blair.
Yes.
So,
yep.
And they're also with the Hannula Cranberry.
And they're kind of the manager, they don't own the property, right?
Right.
So, we're old friends now.
Weinberg did that, huh?
We've come to an understanding, we meet every day when I, on the street and we talk.
Coffee?
Civilly,
hey, there's nothing wrong with that. I still get
No.
along with Scotty too,
absolutely.
Yeah.
after being through it all. Thank you very much, Deb.
Well, you know, we all get passionate about things, that's all. Right, Jeremy?
That's correct.
Yes,
Have we, sorry to interrupt, but have we voted him in as an associate member yet?
yes, I think you weren't there.
Just making sure. So Jeremy, my apologies because I wasn't at that meeting. Jeremy is a conservation associate member to the board. He can join discussions and things, but he cannot vote. Jeremy, my apologies. I was absent that meeting, or I would have introduced you earlier.
Yeah, it was one of it.
I wasn't there either, I'm sorry.
I think it was me and Kathy and Dick.
And Dave?
I mean,
And
Ed, and who else was there?
We're going.
He came, and Dave came, and Dave said, never mind, because he was gonna run for selectman.
we
So he-
didn't vote in the
I don't think that's his
next
name.
positive.
Do you want a motion to continue?
Why don't you go ahead and
Get
do
to
it?
Twin Lakes?
Actually,
This is only for this project.
We
He
still
can,
Come back to the-
if he can stay, add it into secretary.
Yes.
No, I don't think, I don't.
Yeah, that's fine. So this is what I would like from,
We do have to get to-
this would be the motion I would like the board to consider. And because I'm chairing the meeting today, I can't make the motion, so I'd have to have one of you guys make the motion and second it. But where this is an extension of old orders, I think that we should have the wetlands delineation peer review done. I think we should continue it on our vote of yea or nay for the whole project until after planning board. I believe one of us that's here tonight should go to the planning board meeting.
I'm going Thursday.
You're going Thursday too? I can go Thursday evening too. While this is on the agenda for them, just because we heard about loopholes and other things going on, so planning's well aware that both boards want to work together with them, and that conservation does have concerns as of this moment. And Steve would like to do a site visit, so vote to have a site visit done, but I'd like to be able to get on Moss Brothers property, so reach out to Moss Brothers.
Site visits for me, Saturdays, I can do Saturday mornings.
So a site visit
I'm working in the city, so I'm going 6 to 6.
on a Saturday.
Or Sunday.
Or Sunday, potentially with Moss. And then if the board's not against it, we can vote on it. And I will call the mosquito control project and I will talk to Mr. Haywood on highway
Have them take a look at it.
and have them take a look at it and see if there's any hand clearing and other things that we can get done, and at least do the site visit with the experts. That is already paid for by our tax dollars, that won't cost anything extra. I do listen to town meetings sometimes. That we can at least start the process, because the mosquito control project does hand clearing and machine work in the winter. They don't do it spring and summer, and the beginning of fall. Right now is about the time they'll start really getting into it. The selectmen, board of health and others, and Mr. Haywood know them well. I don't think they'd have any issue if I asked and told them that conservation would like to have the services done through mosquito control. They've done the fire department, they've done River Street, and so many other water management projects in Halifax and the surrounding areas. I think it would be the best place for us to start right now, for the residents, and then for both properties. And then have Grady and the owner come back done with planning.
At the next conservation meeting after they go to planning.
After they
So
go
the
to
22nd.
planning, and after,
Okay.
and I'd say after the wetlands delineation peer review study's done again. I mean, right now, there's no flags up on the property, so even if we went to do a site visit, we're not looking at anything, and conservation, I'll have to talk to the selectmen, get an updated map of national heritage, because there's areas that have lady slippers and other endangered plants that national heritage is waiting out to go and do, that aren't marked in Halifax either. That should technically be endangered species zones. And it may be a map issue or not, but just,
Yeah, you might be able to find that on Biomap, I just found that recently.
yeah,
And it has all like those category
yeah, because
two.
this property's close, but I'd
Yeah.
like to see if you're actually within it, or if there's gonna be any extra orders of conditions because you're X amount of feet from an endangered species, plant and/or animal. So, because that will really affect what has to be and what won't be done with the board. Am I asking too much, guys? I apologize.
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's a lot of coordination on our end, more than anything, with the other boards and all that stuff, you know what I mean?
That's the way it should look.
Okay.
So,
All right, so I make a motion that we continue the vote on this particular project until after the zoning board meeting, planning board meeting. Also, after a peer review of the delineation, the wetlands delineation. And also, we will delay the vote until after we coordinate with the other boards, including mosquito control, highway, planning, and board of health.
yeah, and we have to check the national heritage maps.
Okay.
And I'll second.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So our next meeting is December 27th. And Colleen and I will both be planning. Do you guys have any other questions for us at this time?
Do you want us to reflag the wetlands then, for the peer review? You said there's no flags, so would you?
There
like us-
is no
yeah.
flags, but
So-
you guys are gonna have to have the wetlands delineation peer review study done again, which should include the flagging.
Right,
So we'll reestablish the flagging that's shown on the plan for
Yeah.
the peer review.
Yeah.
And then,
that'd be good.
right, then, right.
right.
And then whatever's written up under the new laws and things like that. Do you have any questions on what we're
No,
looking
the
for?
only thing that
from you?
I would recommend is if, for the third party for the peer review, is to reach back out to LEC because they did the original
Okay,
review.
Okay, yeah.
and I know it's not the vote everyone was looking for in the public today. And I apologize, but we have to be fair to the residents and we have to be fair to the applicants. Is there anything else you guys would like us to try to get done for you as of now until we make it through all the correct boards, meetings, and it makes it back to us?
Okay.
Okay, I will see everybody again on the 27th, and I hope everybody has happy holidays. But you're
Yes.
also welcome to stay if you'd like.
Yeah.
I'm not throwing anybody out.
I just want to mention though
Thank you.
that getting a peer review that can't always happen right away. Like
Right.
it sometimes takes a couple weeks. So that might not be until January then for the meeting. But you would just check the,
Yeah, if we don't get it
The
booked by the
public notice.
27th, we can always continue into January if we need to.
Yes.
Yep,
Yep.
because I have a feeling planning may ask for the same thing.
but the peer review would not be done by, you said it was LEC?
LEC did the original, so that probably makes sense to go back to them.
That's not a peer review if you use the same person or the same company.
Well, who did the
Well,
original
It is
delineation?
because it's still an independent third-party review. It's not me or Grady
Right, but
Consulting.
the town has their.
But if you need to go out to 3 different companies to get bids for it.
No. No, I would know who we could
Okay.
use. But
So
that's
what-
the applicant's responsibility to pay that fee.
Yeah.
Okay.
The town does have ones we use. We have a new one we use. Planning also has a very specific person they use for the
We
same
have an
thing.
excellent one that's working on another project for us right now.
Okay,
Yeah, I was just recommending
So-
that because they did the original, that was all.
no, that's fine, and I see,
Well, they did the original delineation or they
No.
reviewed the original?
I did the original
Okay.
delineation and they reviewed it on
Oh,
behalf
I
of
see.
the
Then
commission.
that, yeah, then, okay.
so I
Just need to
see
make that clear.
where a different set of, where a second set of eyes from the original is how it becomes peer reviewed.
Exactly.
So that's where Debbie's point's coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
we have one right now that's literally like, there's been 3 or 4. And now that we have someone else on it, they found an intermittent stream that no one else saw before. So it's just,
No, and-
it's good to have.
Those are the concerns we have over in this area. Like I said, I'm not
Yeah.
a butter, but I do know what's going on in my woods behind me, around other butters and different things like that. And
Everybody sees something else.
there's
Right.
definitely answers that need to be answered. And if it's the applicant's responsibility, it's the applicant's. If it's different property owners, we want to be fair in that as well. And if it's the town's responsibility, also make sure that we can go in front of town meeting, or if there's things like that that can be done. We just don't want to say, hey, here you go, and then create more messes. And I apologize that you have to come back again, but 'tis the process.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate you guys coming in. Only one.
Thank you. The pictures were very helpful.
Was there something else going on Plymouth Street? You were doing something else on Plymouth Street?
416 Plymouth Street.
Oh, that's someone else's stuff.
That's the commercial building that they want to put in.
Yeah, so
Farm stand
that-
is, where this farm stand is, right next to Riley
Planning,
Auto
I
Parts.
think I already told you about planning. did-
Oh, really?
did all that. Yeah, did all
Oh,
that.
what's that?
It's,
Yeah, because
well,
in my,
Oh, is it seating on?
416 Plymouth.
That was for the dog park. The dog
Oh, that's the dog park.
daycare.
Okay,
That's just different.
I'm wrong.
That's okay.
So that's not the,
Bye-bye.
that's a different area. Sir, I was mistaken. It's not that,
The one on our agenda now is 416 Plymouth, it's behind the Rockland Trust, like in the building.
Oh.
I think it was just.
he just wants for dog daycare.
Yeah.
So last time he was here, I had some questions about animal waste and drainage and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So we got some information. And, you know, what he was saying for a surface on the pond.
Oh, that's not, nothing to do with 417.
No,
No, no, no.
They run over with the
Okay.
We'll catch up with you guys later.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
All right,
I'm at the barber shop every
all
Saturday.
right.
Which one?
John.
John.
All right.
Which one is it, right?
I'm gonna move on to 10 Twin Lakes Drive.
Yes. Sorry, it was a long wait, but I'm sorry. We try to be thorough.
Apologies for standing in the...
Set up my podium, this should be fast, I hope.
Jeremy, excuse me. We're moving on to the next agenda item.
Number 10, Twin Lakes Drive.
It is the request for determination of applicability by Collins Engineers, an upgrade of existing multi-unit septic system within the 100-foot. Where does the Board of Health stand?
I believe the Board of Health has approved it. It's been
So it's-
18 days, but I haven't tasked George, so I can't be.
Yeah, I talked to Bob about it.
Yeah, okay, they've had plenty of time to look at it.
Is one of the Twin Lakes, so I used to live at 441 Twin Lakes Septic, to disclose that. So I remember when we had our association fees and things, they had a lot of failed septic systems
They did,
and
yeah.
other requirements that had to be done by the town.
I did some
Is
work in the area.
this system one of the ones that the Board of Health had wanted done and have allowed the proper amount of time? for the-
This system was requested by the applicant, so I don't know if the Board of Health was involved in getting the system repaired.
Okay.
But this was
So
a
it's
failure,
system repair,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
system repair and failure.
Same footprint.
Need to read this in the record?
Yes, please.
Okay. Notice is hereby given of a public hearing conducted by the Halifax Conservation Commission under the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40 of the Wetland Protection Act, and Chapter 164 of the Town of Halifax Wetland Protection Bylaws on Tuesday, November 22nd, 2022, 7 p.m. meeting room 1, to consider a request for determination of applicability submitted by George Collins of Collins Civil Engineering Group in West Bridgewater on behalf of the applicant, Robert Catillus of Great North Property Management, it's cut off there, Halifax, Mass, for a proposal to upgrade the existing septic system for multifamily residents located at Building 10, Twin Lakes Drive in Halifax. The proposed leaching field will be 87 feet from the bordering vegetated wetland, and the proposed tank will be 96 feet from the bordering vegetated wetland. Shown on Assessors Map 32, lots 4138, 4141, 4144, 4147, and 4150. Copies of the filing are available at the Conservation Commission's office, Halifax Town Hall, per email request or by calling 781-590-3872. Signed, Halifax Conservation Commission. So, how old is this, the existing system? And obviously that's going to all be done according to, all the Board of Health laws. Are you demolishing the old one or removing it?
No,
Or is it just being kept and-
there are existing systems here,
Okay,
and we're going to be keeping this system here in place. This is a new system in a undisturbed, well, it's a grassed area, so it is a disturbed area.
okay.
By the way, my name's Dave Clinton from Collins Engineering. I gotta introduce myself, and I have the cards for the advertisement.
For all the abutters?
Yes, for all the
Okay.
letters.
Thank you very much.
So, this is gonna be a repair, but it's gonna be a new system. This system's gonna involve quite a few tanks. The more settling we get before it hits the system, the longer the system's gonna last.
Yeah.
Normally, we don't do more than 2 tanks. On this system, with the number of people and not knowing what they use their system for,
Yeah.
we're proposing 3 tanks here. These 3 tanks, they're all gonna be gravity fed.
Okay.
There's gonna be no pump system. The green line is the wetland delineation by Brooke Monroe from Carver. I don't know if you guys know or work with her. She's usually does all of our
And when was that done?
delineation. She did it in September. It's right here in the report. She
Sometime
did-
within the last 12 months?
Yeah, she did it September 23rd,
Okay,
2022.
okay.
The orange is the 50 and the magenta is the 100-foot buffer. And we have surrounding the limit of work. It's going to start right here at the corner of 9. This is a wooded bush area. It's going to come down and around the limit of work and end over at the deck on the existing building that we're repairing the system for. And there's really, it's not in a flood zone, it's not in a wildlife habitat area, and there are no vernal pools within the area. So this is pretty much, it would be isolated, but there is a pipe that feeds this wetland area.
Okay.
I'm aware of the pipe that feeds it in between.
So it does tie,
in the
yeah.
train
I was
station.
saying, yeah.
And then down, I want to call it Grand Street, but I think
Yeah,
I'm
it
wrong.
kind of goes under Twin Lakes Drive.
It
and
goes
down.
on the Twin Lakes,
Yeah.
it goes down and it feeds out Steve, in an imminent stream behind where the railroad station is, and all the old
Yeah.
houses and things down
Garden
there.
Road that way?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're not, it's not going to be a mounted system. We've got elevations that fit right in with the property. So it's going to be just a flat
Yeah.
area.
And our secretary just let us know the Board of Health did approve it already, so this has already been
Yeah,
approved.
they've had it for a good month and a half now, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's only coming into the 100-foot zone by 4 feet.
Right.
He's 96 feet,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know. And then essentially, I mean, the way the tanks are constructed, that is literally going to be of those 4 feet, 18 inches is the concrete wall, the thickness of the wall,
Yeah.
you know, or
And-
more, actually.
I mean, and there's not much they can do down there where there's renters and owners, and it's
Yeah, all
a
construction.
string of multi-families. It's not like we
Yeah.
can move it all around
No, I know.
like we
did
would a
some-
single-family property, and it is a repair.
Yeah,
Yeah, we will be coming in from the street side, on the right side, outside the 100-foot buffer, so
Right.
all construction vehicles will be outside.
Yeah.
And we normally ask for tracking pads and keeping the street swept.
Okay,
Yeah.
and what will you use for erosion control and different things like that, just to protect the wetland?
Right now, the erosion control is going to be about almost 50 feet from where the slope goes down.
Okay.
So we're going to have a nice flat area, a buffer zone between the erosion control and where it gets really steep in the back. And the erosion control, we have a detail of it, I think, on the plan somewhere. We normally use a silt sock, if that's okay with the Conservation Commission. And here it is right here.
especially, based on, there's not much elevation change between where the project is and where the.
It's a very flat
is.
area, so
Yes.
a silt sock should be.
Yeah, sufficient.
Yeah.
Want a motion to approve?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have
that's
no
right.
issues with it, with the Board of Health and other
Yeah.
things, and, man, it's Twin Lakes, it's not like even if we wanted to, we could ask you to move it, so.
All right, where are we? Make a motion to approve the request for determination of applicability from Collins Engineering in relation to 10 Twin Lakes Drive.
No, second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
All
We
right.
pass,
Okay.
thank you
Thank
very
you very
much.
much.
Thanks, Mom.
We need
I don't know.
we just need
Sign anyway.
to sign your paperwork, it'll be good.
This one. No, that's the 460.
This is for 10 Twin Lakes Drive. Approved, and it'll be all set for Miss Debbie tomorrow.
Oh, sorry.
And Mr. Webby, I apologize that we're running extremely
Way
behind
behind.
tonight. I'm so sorry. Our apologies.
I like to talk a lot and say no a lot. My reputation.
See, when we both here, there's a problem, because I like to talk a lot too. But it's good. With the three of us feed off of each other well, with everybody's different forms of expertise. So,
That's, once we make a motion to pay bills, we'll sign that front page.
You're all set.
Yeah.
Yeah. Email, yeah, I have your
We
email,
can get
right?
there.
Yeah, it's on the plan too, the email address.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, okay.
Thanks,
we're all set. Thank you. Happy holidays to you too.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So, and with my apologies to Mr. Webby and Canine Dog Kennel, we call 416 Plymouth Street, notice of intent, which is continued, so we don't have to read in anything, for the commercial activity within the Halifax bylaw, 50-foot no touch. And also, I did some research, since I don't know if you were in on one of the meetings, I was absent. but I did some research, and this project's going to have to apply the Clean Water Act to it too, for the chemicals that you do use for the wetlands. I personally had some concerns, but
Okay, Joe Webby Engineering, with me is Dan Kennedy. And what Dan would like to do is rent this space at 416 Plymouth Street. The Rockland Trust is right here, so it would be the back of the big building, the Old Kings. And we have a BVW, we have our 50-foot, and we have our 100-foot. And then this is all paved, and this is all previously disturbed. It's basically a lawn area where the drainage just sheet drains down into the basins that are out there. We had one meeting with the commission, then we had an on-site meeting. We had staked this, it was a large one out. There was some questions in the field about maybe that was a little intense, a little too large. So Dan was willing to cut that right down in half. And we know we're going to be working within the 50 feet, but that's only because we can't be on the pavement. And but we can easily keep 25 feet, a 25-foot buffer from your BVW. And so we know that that requires a variance, and we're hoping that we would get one, and then Dan could be able to have his doggy daycare inside the building.
Okay.
I don't know, is that the normal one? Yeah.
Yeah, I believe last time I asked whoever was here, I missed the solid, but that should be fine.
Actually, I have another one.
What's going to, what is going to go
This one, though.
on the surface?
Okay, yeah, Dan can explain that a little bit.
And I had asked you about the pitch and all the drainage and all that stuff because,
They said they're welcome, they want them.
animal waste.
okay, that's one. I
Yeah,
know.
so it's on artificial turf.
Okay.
And so they dig about like a foot down and they put gravel for the drainage, and it's like a high drainage flooring, so it has like more perforated holes in it
Okay,
for the water
yeah.
kind of seep through.
A lot of people think
And
that
that's,
stormwater company.
yeah, I couldn't explain the pitch or anything, so.
Well, I think the big thing that they're really worried about is the dog poop. So you're gonna collect that, pick that up, and you're gonna put it in a trash.
Yeah,
And,
scoop it down.
and you've got a drainage basin here, which obviously fills from the drainage from the parking lot, and then it seeps into the water table.
Right.
So would any runoff from your project. I guess, it depends on how many dogs we're talking about. Just like any other natural animal, that if an animal congregates in a specific area that's close to runoff and it's close to groundwater, it can create bacterial issues, even though it's all organic material. So obviously we need to have a plan in place that you're gonna pick up, as much as you possibly can pick up. But then, what do you do for cleaning? Do you just pressure wash it? Do you use a chemical to
It's
pressure
called,
wash the area?
so I gave information
Yeah.
on the product that I use. It's similar to bleach, but it's like the natural compound, yeah.
There's,
And it's pre-diluted with water. It's a hose attachment, so you don't have to worry about the
It's-
levels or anything.
I was happy to see that it was EPA approved and actually had a registration number, and it
Yeah.
was an exemptor of E25 product. However, being within the 50-foot wet zone and with the runoff and other things, I still have serious concerns with any type of chemical, pesticide or herbicide being used within the 100-foot zone. It's not safe. It's not safe for the environment. It's not safe, especially bleached-wise, for the butterflies, the dragonflies, the snapdragons, the bees, and other things that are over in there.
So I do think it kind of goes over that in the information I provided.
I did, and I
Yeah,
called
and-
them down, I spoke to others, and I talked to the National Institute for Pesticides, and there's concerns because you are within the 100-foot buffer
So
zone.
close.
It's too close.
As Paulina said, you're too close.
Okay.
I know you've been back and forth with planning as well. Has planning approved you yet?
No, not until I'm approved here. I can't do anything
Right.
until I get approved
Right.
here.
And Kathy has a concern about digging in that area at all being so close. It was
Kathy
digging down
has
to
many
gravel.
concerns. We do know that the chair and the
I do have
vice
a
chair.
concern about digging down before I didn't even think of
It's
that.
just,
I think that's,
I'm not, for me personally, and of course the board has to vote, for me personally, I'm not against the company.
No, I actually would
but-
probably be one of your first customers, because you're like
So-
a quarter mile from my house.
He does, well, he does home visits now. You could be a customer now.
I don't need a home visit. I mean,
But he comes and he takes care of
Doggy
them, he
daycare.
brings them out, he has a doggy daycare in another area. He does a great job, and everybody raves about you, Dan. It's not, for me personally though, I think you chose the wrong location.
Yeah.
yeah,
No, that's fine. I would
I
rather
think-
get an answer of no tonight
Yeah, yeah.
than continuation,
Yeah.
just because it's already 6 months in.
And it's-
I just
if
want
you
to find
were-
the next spot.
if you weren't 50 feet, 25 feet out, like if you were out asking maybe a 20-foot difference with some digging and things within 100, it'd be a lot different. But you are so
Yeah,
close.
this existing parking lot already pushed the envelope.
that's,
That's the problem.
Right.
And then we already have to worry about the salt and the sand that's in the wetlands and the other drainage, and then you wanna add chemicals, herbicides, pesticides, cleaners,
Yeah, it's so close.
organic matter that we do know that feces is just the dirtiest
Yeah.
organic matter that there is.
And it's fine
Going that
until
way,
it's
you know what I mean?
concentrated, right?
Right, and then, you know,
Yeah.
you have a wonderful New England northeaster on you and you haven't got into it yet, or you have this, or you have that, and then where does it correctly, you know, where's everything go to, you know? Goes into our stormwater, it goes into our water table,
Yeah.
it goes into wherever it may flow through neighbors' properties and such and such.
Yeah.
And then that will give you a bad rep, and we don't wanna do that either for
Yeah.
No.
location.
Yeah, when I initially pitched this, I thought that the tree line was the buffer zone.
Yeah.
If I knew that that whole spot
Oh,
was in
right.
right from the get-go, like I
Right.
wouldn't have,
right.
you know what I mean? 'Cause-
Yeah, because that's
The tree
quite
line would make sense.
further back, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just can't.
yeah.
So can I have, so a motion to, could I please ask one of the board members to make a motion to approve and/or to approve 416 Plymouth Street for Dan Kennedy with K90 doggy daycare?
We make a motion to approve it and not,
Well, then, or do you want a motion not to approve it? It
To
doesn't
not
matter,
approve it.
because it doesn't matter. You just vote no on one and yes on the
yeah,
other.
yeah.
However, and you like the word.
Yeah, I guess this doesn't really matter. I'll make a motion to approve the notice of intent for Webby Engineering commercial, on behalf of proposed client at 416 Plymouth Street.
Those
So
in-
do we not second that?
So, yes, you would second it.
I would second the approval.
Okay, so those in favor vote yes.
Okay.
And then-
Those not in favor of approving 416 Plymouth Street vote no.
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 So no.
So, I'm sorry, we have not approved
Sorry, Dan.
416 Plymouth Street, but you've been awesome to work with, and if you had a different location,
Yeah.
it'd be a lot different.
The search continues.
So I'd reach out to planning and let them know our decision,
Yeah.
because I don't know if they want to see you or not.
Okay.
Where's your other business?
In Plimpton.
I think I could take my dog there. You come pick my dog up every day, I think.
Maybe.
Get the little bus, Maisie. Yeah, that's my dog. Yeah.
Already, sorry.
As we disclose all of our conflicts of
I know, right?
interest at the end.
That's fine.
It's,
I didn't know.
Guys,
no, that's okay, you
But,
are.
thanks for your patience.
Doggy daycare.
I'll be in touch.
All right. Happy holidays, guys.
Bye, thank
You
you.
too, sorry. Thank you, Mr. Webby.
Thanks, Joe.
That's the kind of business. Also, I can take advantage of, you know, across from Cumberland Farms, the place in the corner.
They're within the 100 feet too.
Of
There's
what?
too much work to do. Westlake in the bogs, there's wetlands behind there too.
Yep.
And then you.
From that corner, because I was looking to buy on that property myself until I found out that the gas tanks are still in the ground,
Oh,
and they've never had a working bathroom for the last 20 years.
Yeah, and the septic doesn't. And
Yeah, the
also,
septic. But this
on
type
that
of
piece
business wouldn't need a
property,
bathroom.
Cumbies has a stipulation in it.
Yeah.
That only certain people, it makes it really difficult to sell. I think the property got
Check on
discussion,
their
and I've
business
talked to
interests.
different people about it, is the town taking it over, but making it like a science center where like you can rent kayaks out, or have fishing rods, with someone in there for like fishing lessons, ice fishing, and like different stuff.
The issue is you need a bathroom.
Yeah, you do.
Septic's not gonna pass.
It also needs ADA. The septic's already filled.
Right.
It's
So-
been a problem for a long time, but it would. And to spend money, you need a plan that will make money back in return.
Yes.
That's like efficient, but I do think in like a recreational area like that, and then you can ask like the fire department, like those out of towners everybody complains about, oh, go get a $15 registration for each
Yeah,
jet
spend
ski,
money.
blah, blah, blah. You
Yeah.
could rent fishing rods, you could
Yeah.
maybe get a boat and do like tours and like teach people about
Yeah.
the lake and all that stuff. But anyhow, now that we've got an off topic,
The town should buy it, make an education center.
I know, I would love that.
Pay a pretty penny.
Yeah. They're asking $750.
Hey, that's a steal nowadays.
see, I am so glad I'm not allowed. So, would that be a huge, like, once we recover from COVID and the residents want to spend money type of purchase?
Yeah.
So moving on, we have discussion actions to be taken, the status of wetlands violations and enforcement. Where do we stand on 31 Ocean Ave?
So the status on that is the property owner reached out to me via email letting me know that his, that the Grady Consulting was going to be moving forward with a notice of intent.
So
And I replied that that's fine, however, we do have
We
a
heard that.
hearing scheduled before the clerk magistrate on January 9th.
keep the.
So that's still
So.
going to happen.
So apparently, because this has been ongoing, and I have been listening to, since the first time Mr. McKinnon was in front of us in regards to 31 Ocean Ave, that Grady was going to be involved.
Yeah.
Nothing has been done. He's had almost a year to put in his notice of intent. So my vote would be to continue the fines and to ensure we go to court on January 9th.
Yep, so I have the clerk
Because it's
magistrate.
just, he's just taken the board for a
Yeah.
Yeah.
ride.
I said we need to have the notice of intent by this date in order to get you on the 27th. And, so, you know, it just keeps getting pushed.
He
and pushed.
he has had more than enough time, and he thinks that we'll forget about it.
He's been acting on this since before I joined the board,
Yeah,
So I
which was
would,
June.
so I would continue to fine him, $300 a day, because we're down to one violation, for each day he's violated. I'd also put in the motion that we no longer consider reducing his fines in half, because he hasn't acted on it, because this was continued
Right.
from the last meeting I was at, Steve, but you were absent.
Right. Okay.
That, and we didn't vote on it because he was supposed to have it in already.
Right.
His fines aren't put in half, and now we go to court.
Yeah.
Any discussion from the other board members?
No, I don't think so. I think we need, someone needs to be there, be at court.
Yep, I don't think the attorney will be at court too. I know Colleen wasn't a fan of the fines and other things too, so I don't know how she feels.
Okay.
You're fine?
You sure?
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, yeah.
All right, I propose take action on 31 Ocean Ave, that we ensure that some representative is at court on 1/9 in front of Plymouth County Clerk Magistrate, and we also continue the fines, which are $300 a day at this point.
And that is current fines aren't
Oh,
split in half.
his current fine shouldn't be split in half anymore. It's only one violation.
Do I have a second?
Oh, is it a motion or a
Yeah.
discussion?
Motion, sorry.
Oh, second. I
All
thought this
those
was discussion. Okay.
Sorry, all those in favor? Aye.
Have we figured anything out as to the address over there on, now I can't even think of the name of it.
22
Yeah.
and 24 Home Street.
Because we talked to somebody and they're like, no, it's not my house.
I think they're both saying that, right?
There's, because the property lines are ridiculous over there.
So on 22 Home Street, would you like to have both property owners come in then? I mean, if we have to have them stake their property.
Where did we stand on the last meeting? Because this was a discussion we had the last meeting I was at, which was.
We didn't discuss it the last meeting, so it's just.
It was kind of like
Because
after
it was
the
up in the air
meeting.
because we were looking at the map trying to figure out who was who, and there was someone from a Plymouth County, a Plymouth Street address that was like, that's my property, it's a Plymouth Street address.
Right, and
And then-
that was pointed out through the map. It's
Right.
that small section of driveway that goes up.
It's like this,
So did
Yeah.
the neighbors cut down the other neighbors?
Right,
trees?
Can I bring something in
Yeah.
here? All right.
have we been able to figure out, did someone cut down trees that are not even on their property, let alone trees they didn't have
This is
permission?
what I was able to
I have all three properties coming.
Yeah,
come
I
out
think
with. All right.
Kathy
This is-
saw the trees gone.
This is.
So these are the property lines?
Yes,
What's
property
red?
lines are in pink.
Yep,
The tree outline is in red because they left a little bit, they left one set of trees
I
here.
saw that.
They left a little bit here. These are all removed, all these,
Yeah.
and then they kind of come up at an angle, right? So
Yeah.
it's like you can't see it that good unless you're directly behind it. And then it comes up.
I did the
This way.
site visit, so I know.
You can see
So-
it really good from the lake.
Yeah, but you have to be at the right angle
Yeah.
because you're looking at different directions. But I'd say pretty much because the street comes out on this lot here, which is 22. So this private road comes out on 22. It's right in front of this sign.
Right.
But the removal, which this isn't anything illegal up here, because I think it's beyond 100 feet or whatever.
They did, but also 22 and 23 had their notice of intent and approval from conservation.
20.
But they, and 20 did, but they only had approval for, I want to say 12 trees.
I was gonna say, they
It took
requested
down about
a,
18.
they requested a specific number of trees
Right.
and then took down.
Okay, so I guess you got to answer your own question. 20 Home Street in April filed a notice of intent.
And cut down more than they requested.
No, that was 20, which is this little house down here. This
Right.
is 20. It's not even close. This road goes way back and
Yeah.
winds around
It does,
downhill.
So if no one wants to own it, should we have all three properties come in to be in front of us
Yeah,
so
so
we can figure it out?
that's the house that somebody lives in there. The one, there's no, it's very confusing when you look at it. There's
Yeah.
another one in the back that was dilapidated or whatever.
Yep.
I understand wanting to redo it. There.
Yeah, and they're looking to build,
Yeah.
the dilapidated one is the one that they're looking to build outside of the footprint that planning board
Oh, wow.
had a problem with.
They already said no, I think, about the deck, about footings and any of that stuff, because they wanted to come, I think they wanted to go both ways, closer to the lake and to the right from that picture.
It's very confusing.
Well,
All right, so, yeah, is it, like, looking from there, you can see trees, but you can't
So,
see a property line, you don't know where, what.
so so conservation needs to look into too, planning already turned them down for the deck and different things. Did they, what bylaws and laws have they done it under? Because they don't have authority over the Clean Water Act, the Wetlands Protection Act, stormwater and things like that. But they do have authority over Chapter 253. And there is different overlap, but I only bring this up because you had the Amanda Estates lawsuit and the resident won because of the mistakes made between different boards and lack of clarity. And I don't want to see that happen on any new properties or the town to be sued again. It really needs clarification from the selectmen on who's doing what before they find different loopholes and use our terrible bylaws to make millions off of us again. Do I make sense?
You need an enforcement agent. Hey.
Listen,
Among other things.
I have been saying we need conservation agents in my first interview and before I was even appointed to the board, so I will, that next agenda item, that it's not, Jeremy, I don't disagree.
All right, so
So moving on to the status of stormwater, nope, sorry, go ahead.
do we want to just have them brought in, or do we need to make a motion to have them
We
brought
need
in?
to have a motion to have them.
All right,
I'd say all
three.
all of them, since they wanna, including the Plymouth Street address, because
Yeah, what's the
they,
Plymouth Street address?
they have that,
Do we know? Jeremy, what's that Plymouth Street
had that
address
at
that
one
butts
time.
there?
we did, because I got the map.
That's what's going on there. The Plymouth Street that butts up to
No.
both of those,
No.
all those homes.
Can someone
it's
own
three.
that? Can someone own that?
I did, because
It's
I
a
gave
really
Debbie the
strange shape.
map and the information
I'll pull it up.
way back in May.
Someone's got a pocket right there.
Uh,
Oh, I have a recent satellite, this is interesting.
So we would need to invite them via letter.
Yeah.
Yes, 20 Home Street, 22 Home Street, 24 Home Street.
Yeah.
And the one on Plymouth Street.
And
Talking about 515?
Can you send
It's
me an
either
email right
515
now?
or 513.
Oh,
You're talking about the
yeah,
one
in the
that cut every
morning.
tree down the side of a hill?
Yeah, plus it has, they have a private driveway that comes right next to 20 homes, and it goes up and it goes around there,
Oh.
because they've had a lot of shenanigans too.
Can
Shenanigans.
someone email me just with those addresses? 'Cause that's
I
the
did
first
not
time
bring my
I-
phone in with me. Can someone else email?
If I write it down, it's gonna get lost in this pile. And then I'll never
Message,
happen.
I'm sorry, I didn't bring my phone in. But
Good for you.
Colleen or Steve will be happy to.
Awesome. I'm opening the windows, it's so stuffy.
You guys?
I just have a question. Can we, is the only thing we ever have to vote on is, paying bills, only because I can't stay?
We have to vote on,
Can we vote on
Deb's
bills?
resignation
We have to vote on it?
Mhm.
That's a vote?
to read it into the,
and read it into the
record.
record.
So let's do those two
Can we
things.
do that? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I just
no.
have to get back to the
No.
computer.
Says we can't continue the meeting after Colleen's gone.
Oh, you
We won't
can't,
have a quorum.
No, that's
right,
fine.
for voting though, but you can finish.
No, we can't, because you need a quorum.
All right, then I can try to
finish.
stay. Okay.
It's,
So so let's get the motion in for Home Street and the Plymouth Street, and then we'll get
All right.
Deb the addresses afterwards.
I can get to them. I'm gonna make, I'll text them to or whatever. Let's make a motion to bring in the residents from 151 Plymouth Street, 20 Home Street, 22 Home Street, and 24 Home Street to try to clear up the tree situation over there and see whose trees are cleared on what property.
And I'll
Yeah,
second.
Okay,
and all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Okay.
so that passes.
okay. Next is
It will
bills.
be the status of stormwater issues on Carver Street, 0 Pine Street, and 1 Snow Street complaint.
Yes, so, the original complaint was regarding 63 Carver, and the EPA paid a visit to both properties. 63 Carver is actually under an acre, so they don't need a stormwater
Per the EPA,
permit.
per the
Per the
EPA, but
EPA.
underneath Halifax's new stormwater regulations and our bylaws, they would need the permit because ours are now stricter, because we did
It's less than an acre.
an acre, a half acre,
Oh,
and then
you're
broke it
right.
down to
Right.
postage size stamps.
You're right,
So
yep.
this is still going to need a permit from the Halifax Conservation, per
Okay.
the Halifax, Town of Halifax's stormwater bylaws
Okay.
and regulations.
Okay.
Because the town does do under an acre.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean,
right.
we voted on them in
Before I got here.
20,
Was it January?
no, it was a town meeting before that. It was either spring of 2020 or 2021 in October special town meeting.
It was on the town warrant from May of 21, I think it was 22.
I think it was, I don't think it's that new.
I still have a copy of it.
Yeah,
I'll
so,
reach out to that one.
Well, that seems like 2 years ago.
and if nothing's grandfathered in, so he's stuck out of luck.
Yeah, totally.
So he
No, they're
does
good
need a
though.
permit.
Yeah,
So
all right.
63 Carver needs Halifax permits.
And then for 49, this is the report from the EPA.
Well, that's how it is. And then, is this
Which
for,
I've never,
is this,
that was what I asked her, the agent, if she had any information to share on it.
yeah, because
So-
he's coming next. And this one still needs a site visit. So can we get a motion for 63 Carver Street? A vote to have Mr. Alan Diaz come in and fill out the permits for stormwater management.
For 63 what?
Carver,
Is Alan for 63 or is it 49? Sorry, I remember.
49 is Joe Pertagewski, and 49 Carver is Joe again,
Yes.
because this is the welding company. No, this isn't Alan, this is a company
Oh,
for
that's what I was
Eric.
saying.
Yeah, for
Okay.
Eric, so it is 63 for Carver. And Mr. Diaz says that as long as it's one board member coming out, he doesn't mind a site visit, but if more than one of us come out, he wants us to come out as a quorum
Oh,
I gotcha.
okay.
and post the public meeting.
Oh, okay.
So one.
So, do you know who originally made the complaint?
It came through the DEP.
Okay. There's, alright, so this is the maps and the 63 Carver.
Okay.
Okay.
The EP is all set with them, however, because Halifax has stricter bylaws and such.
Oh, yeah.
Look at him stealing documents.
Hell yeah. We'll look at it after the meeting. Otherwise, we get lost in this mess.
So, he needs stormwater permits from
See
Halifax.
All right, so,
And he needs a site visit. Steve, do you want to do the site visit with Mr. Diaz on a Saturday, Sunday?
sure.
So,
Sounds like a
Steve,
delightful gentleman. We'll get along fine.
so Steve will be the one board member that does the site visit with Mr. Alan Diaz on a Saturday or Sunday, because that's when Steve's available.
Okay.
As the one board member, and he needs permits, and we need a vote for that.
All right, so, I'll make a motion to, send notification to Mr. Diaz at 63 Carver Street that he needs permits per the Halifax town bylaws.
And I'll second.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And it passes, and Mr. Goodman will do the site visit for that one. So 63 Carver is done. And 0 time is done.
All right.
He's going with those. So, and then we have, yet again, 49 Carver Street, which still has not had a site visit completed to it. I'm familiar with the property and I know the owner. If you guys would like, I can do the 49 Carver Street site visit.
Sure.
Sure.
And with 49 Carver Street, they had approval, but they have mountains of earth removal, potential drainage areas that were probably filled in,
Okay.
and some other things that may or may not have been out of the scope of the conditions and what they were approved for.
Yeah.
And the residents at the last meeting had concerns with flooding in other
Yep.
areas, damage to the street in some other areas, so.
Okay.
And I did notice that the pile grew a little bit at the ball fields next to the police department. You can see them, they're higher than the tree line now. And then the next question would be after that site visit, whether or not there is any violations. And then the potential to have to be consistent and find people for
Mhm.
not doing what's proper.
Do you need a motion for the site visit, or we just discuss?
Just to discuss,
Okay.
and then I would need a vote just to continue this issue until the site visit's conducted,
Okay.
which would be our next meeting, 12/27, and then, of course, we'd have to invite Joe and stuff in
Okay.
with the owners of 49 Conroe, so.
All right.
Joe's usually pretty easy to deal with and stuff, so.
Okay. So I make a motion to continue the matter at 49 Carver Street till after the site visit, so that we continue until 27 December.
And I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So that takes care of that. And we have bills to be approved and signed.
Okay.
And make a motion to pay the bills.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yay.
And the first bill, it's just express newspaper advertising fees of 45.
Okay.
And those have been notice of intent, spelled 359 First Street.
Where's the signature? Really?
Ah, right.
Just like
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
All right.
And I know I have it.
Thank you, Kim, for going down the line, sorry.
They're all the same?
Yes.
Oh, there we go.
No, I got ya.
I know,
That
thank
was
you.
a lot, we didn't have a meeting with.
I got ya.
Well, it's mostly
We
my fault.
we should probably put the lengthier topics when the residents are here at the bottom of the agenda and get through like the quicker things, and then,
Yeah, they were already on the meeting
I mean, we,
when we
I-
told Joe and,
I,
yeah.
I'm not gonna be available
Those other
in
two were
January.
continued.
Taking an online class that the only place I could find it was Tuesday nights.
Of course.
But it's a full class and it's done 3 hours.
Yeah, yeah.
That's how
Every
mine
Tuesday
was.
night.
Is it North
I had
Shore?
one of those.
No, it's
I've had
I
one.
forget where it's
That's what I
Community
did.
College, Rhode Island, and it's 3 hours
Yeah.
Yeah.
On Tuesday.
every Tuesday for
Of
4
course.
Tuesdays, and then it's done now.
That's good.
So
That's good.
there's,
that's January.
That's a good way to do
there's
it.
nothing wrong with that. I've been there and done those too.
So,
My last class I did in person, it was
Okay.
all for conservation.
and
Do you
then
have her letter to read?
I do. We have to review inner office memos and other correspondences. We need to vote to add in Jeremy as an associate member officially.
officially, because I don't know if we voted on
We
it.
we
Okay.
didn't. I remember, that's why I asked, that's why
Yeah.
we never
Is this
had
an
him come
interview?
back. Yeah, Steve and I had a different memory recollection.
Yeah, no, that's right, because I remember you were there, and Dave withdrew because he decided he was gonna,
And then unfortunately, I have a letter of recognition to read in, and that will require a vote of you guys allowing somebody or all of
Oh, I
us to
didn't
go to
even
the
know.
selectmen, because,
We're voting to allow the letter to the selectmen?
no, we,
Sorry.
there's, after I read it in, we're gonna
Yeah.
have to go to the selectmen, because we need help.
Yeah. absolutely.
But if you haven't read, have you read it?
I read it, yes.
Yeah, I read it too.
So, and I'll read it out loud, but
You wanna
we have
vote?
been asking
Oh, sorry.
many, many times for an agent to be hired. Mr. Perry has been involved, our chair has been involved, nothing has been done. Debbie only came back to work for the town of Halifax after the first time she resigned, under the impression she would be in the dual role of secretary/agent within this time frame, and it is still yet to occur. And there's been no communication or updates to the boards. There's nothing going on. It hasn't been in front of the new Board of Selectmen yet, but the Board of Selectmen need to understand that as our appointing authority, we need them to work with others, and, because they're in charge of the other employees in town hall, not
Yeah.
us, that this needs to be done. There needs to be a fire lit and under some bombs, and how conservation needs to stop being the neglected department in town hall. It's a problem. It's a huge problem.
Yeah,
With that, I will read in, unfortunately, we're losing Deb again. Deb, I'm sorry. And I know the town,
you're doing what's best for you. You can't take the abuse,
Right.
you can't take that. It's just too much. It's
And-
too much.
I did love being here though.
we appreciate you coming back.
Yeah.
And we're sorry that we disappointed your expectations. And what the public might not understand that you do is us as a commission doesn't have authority over it.
Right.
Therefore, we're dependent on Mr. Perry and the building department, the board of selectmen and others. But on behalf of this board, like, we really thought that more was being done and that you were coming in the dual role, like, that's what was
Right.
reported.
Yeah.
And I personally feel horrible and feel like we disappointed you. I understand why you need to leave and you do
I
it
realize you
for
guys
you,
can't,
but,
you know,
but I do, I feel horrible, I don't think it's right. And thank you for staying and helping out. And with her letter too, do we need to vote her extra hours in, so Jim can approve them? So everything that's left she has done to do is done for when we now again take over running conservation as a board, or conservation office closes.
I don't think we can
I
go
don't
over
think
hours.
we can,
Can we?
I don't think we can.
Can we vote in your hours, or can Jim just give them to you?
I think I talked about it, with the acting town administrator. I don't think it's an issue.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you already spoke to Sandy?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not an issue, so yeah, you guys are right, we don't need to vote in.
Yeah. Just to get
Have
everybody in a
extra
good
time.
place, so we
Right.
don't come to
No, but if, I don't wanna hold that up if it was something the
Oh,
board
got
needed
it.
to vote on first.
thanks.
So, and with that, Ms. Ballin has written, Dear Sandy and Jim and Conservation Commission, this letter is to notify you of my resignation as Conservation Secretary for the town of Halifax. I am providing a 2-week notice and would like to request additional hours to ensure that all outstanding work is completed. I urge the town to hire a conservation agent who will most likely require a part-time secretary. Over the past year, I have made multiple requests that the Conservation Commission hire an agent. Recently, residents have reported flooding in areas positioned for a new development in town, and I am concerned if the town does not hire an experienced conservation agent, progress adjustments to wetlands will be approved without proper review. At minimum, a conservation agent must be able to verify wetland boundaries prior to a proposed project, conduct site visits during and after a project to ensure adherence to orders of conditions, and conduct site visits prior to issuing certificates of compliance. While board members may be available for site visits in some instances, they are not required nor qualified to fulfill the role of a conservation agent. Though I was offered the position of agent, I am also not qualified to perform the duties of this role. The Conservation Commission Department at Town Hall needs to be a 2-person team to include an agent and an administrative assistant similar to the staffing of the building department and the Board of Health. Currently, the secretary is the sole employee of the Conservation Commission. It's hard to imagine that this situation would be acceptable in the building department or the Board of Health. However, it's been this way for the Conservation Commission for over 15 years, according to a board member. It's not fair to the secretary, and it's not fair to the residents of Halifax. The issue with the Conservation Secretary position is that without an agent, the Conservation Commission relies on the secretary to review wetlands permits, applications, and plans. The board expects the secretary to perform research and inform them of the many conflicts between proposed projects and the Wetlands Protection Act, the Rivers Protection Act, the Mass Endangered Species Act, the National Heritage Endangered Species Program, Safety Endangered Species Act, the Wetlands Protection Acts, the Halifax bylaws, including our stormwater management regulations and bylaws. The work that I perform in order to prepare for a hearing is time-consuming and complex. The Conservation Commission also relies on the Secretary to draft and issue orders of conditions, determinations of eligibility, and enforce orders. Normally, these duties are the responsibility of a conservation agent. Though the Secretary position has been stressful and burdensome, I have gained knowledge and experience in this challenging role. I intend to continue on this career path, but in a different town where I can work under the supervision of an experienced conservation agent. I sincerely enjoyed working for the town of Halifax and appreciate the opportunity. Best regards, Debbie Ballin. Can I get a motion to accept Ms. Ballin's letter of resignation, please?
Okay, I make a motion on behalf of the board to accept the letter of resignation from Debbie Bell.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
No, yes.
I thought about it.
No, aye. It's
No.
a unanimous vote, but
Yeah.
you have,
Your contributions don't go unnoticed by us,
Thank you.
you know, especially us.
Yeah, I meant it. I really did enjoy working here.
no, I know, and
I
we,
miss the people so much.
And maybe if situation changes and, you know, you come back,
Never know.
you know?
you've never left on bad terms. And the only reason you originally came back was for
Yeah.
something the town did not follow through with.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna leave it blanket because you never know where it could go. But and a vote to bring this up to the selectmen.
Oh,
I'm happy to be
yes.
the one that does it. I'm happy to be the one that goes to the meetings. But we do, before I go in front of another board, or we have angry residents in front of us again, have a vote to make sure this makes it to the selectmen, and that the selectmen are gonna be supportive of us, especially where they're our appointing authority, and we don't, as a board, have control over those employees that technically fall under the board of selectmen.
Right.
Like, I can't go yell at somebody, it's not
Right.
gonna do me any good.
No, we don't have that authority. I don't want it.
So, but, and I'm sure the new board is humble, and they're very respectful, that they wouldn't yell or anything like that
Yeah.
either, but they'd be the correct person
Yeah.
to start the processes.
Okay.
Plus, we're gonna need someone to post, job descriptions and, all of that good stuff, even just for Debbie's positions.
Yeah,
We need to get on that, if we could have a motion for that.
I'll make a motion to bring the issue forward to the Board of Selectmen.
I'll say.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And is there anything else?
You wanna vote in German?
Yes. And
I
that's,
want to make a comment first before you vote.
Sure.
Did you read on my meeting agenda revision B, there's a complaint to Mass DEP regarding 0 Pine Street North.
0 Pine Street. What's going on at 0 Pine Street?
0,
Yeah, so it's,
0
I think it's
Pine
0
and
Pine
1.
Street North, and then, it was,
I'm
it's
so- I
it's a
don't have that
project
agenda.
that went back to, looks like 2001 according to the, no, 1990 according to the DEP. So the only file that we have was an RDA from 2021, for Pine Street North. And there's photos attached of the,
Is this,
aerial view.
is this the one where we gave him permission to clear out all the invasive species and things like that? Or is this Mr. Allen's property? I mean, Mr. Allen Diaz's property?
Yeah, proposed
Because this-
excavation work to install a water service within 100 feet bordering
There's a
restricted
lot of
wetland.
properties back there.
But it was cleared prior to, like 20 years prior. But someone's lodged a complaint, I don't know what the complaint is, but it's just, you know, had to, I
So, but it
forwarded to
doesn't-
Kathy,
I
but
know
she's the
there's-
longest serving member, but she didn't respond to it, so I figured I'd bring it up here.
Yeah, it has to be done, so we need a site visit done
Yeah,
for,
yeah, so I don't know.
So, but-
There's nothing on file.
so 0 snow is,
That's not I filed the complaint as a resident.
Oh, got it, okay.
The complaint lists
So,
your
do you-
0 Pine Street, number 1 Snow Street.
The
one,
complaint is not against Snow Street. It's
Okay.
against 0 Pine Street.
which is Mr. Allen Diaz's property, correct?
He owns the property.
That's because we can't move forward until we know the owner of the property. That's what I'm trying to figure out right now. Just the owner of the property.
It's a
I know it's a
specific
mess down.
Lot.
All right, so can you show us on, after everyone looks at it, the specific lot? And I didn't mean to skip over it, Jeremy.
Where is,
Thank you for.
Because he was
pointing it out.
involved in Carter Street, but
Yeah,
complaints, you know, it's the property, not the
where's
person.
Pine Street?
no, I understand that.
So,
Where's Pine Street?
0 Pine Street is a little tiny dirt road, like snow
No,
road,
we don't go down
private
there.
way.
Off of where?
And it's on the Hanson Halifax line.
oh,
Okay.
And there's one house over there that was on the Hanson up, and we voted to allow him to do it because he was issued with the state and other things to take out invasive species and other things, and we voted and had him do the paperwork to ensure he wanted to get complaints with other issues that are going on over there between both towns.
The official owner is Diaz with an S, Alan J. The address listed for the owner is P.O. Box 314, Monpont,
Yes.
Monpont Post Office. The issue also is that if you look at the map like this, there's a lot of little tiny lots that are listed as 0 Pine Street. Generally, if you've looked at this, I have the GIS map.
This lot right here, that's GIS, human altered wetlands.
Okay. Just so I can get it here.
Here's a nice view here with the snow, so it shows where the lot is.
Yep,
This is Stetson Brook,
yep.
runs directly, and then it starts to kind of meander. But it's right here.
Do we know who owns the wetlands? Jeremy, when you were doing your research and did you notice if it belonged to National Heritage, owned by Audubon, a land trust, or anything like
That
that?
specific lot is owned by Mr. Alan Diaz.
Yep. Yep, all of it is in that whole set, because if you look at the
Yeah.
0, 0, 0, 0, 0, it's all listed as 0 and it's all owned by him.
But my complaint was only with that specific
Right.
parcel.
That's hard to, you know what I mean?
And only because of the location and the inflow stream.
Not only that, but he's also within a region too, and he's within the drinking water supply, and he's within all of that, never mind violating the Clean Water Act.
Also the Wetlands Act, because there's, I don't know what's going on right there, but there's just mountains of stuff. Nobody knows what's in it. It's directly abutting a feeding estuary into the lake. It's
Yeah, I
the
know.
public water supply.
I got you. So, storage containers and lack of knowing what's in it.
I don't think there's containers, I think there's piles of stuff. You don't know where
So
it's
the
coming
fire
from.
department
If you
too.
can,
Well, he owns a landscaping company and a whole bunch of other things, and
That still doesn't,
this area is on multiple boards and committees in the town of Hanson and in the town of Halifax, and never in a positive way.
Jeremy,
this is specifically.
Come help me mention
only
this
in
map.
that.
No, I know that.
because if you look, there's Bow Street on this map.
Mhm,
There's Pine Street north, right?
yeah.
And where's Bow Street on this map? Bow Street here. So he may actually, someone's gonna need to
We're
do
gonna
site
have the fire
visits.
department
All
go
of
out
this
and
is
make
his,
sure
right?
that There's
Not
no
all of it.
Yep, all of it.
Yeah.
Look at, on the GIS map, if you touch it, that's him.
hazardous, but I
Yeah.
know
That's all his. But look at this tiny
On
little
Mont
spot.
Ponce
I'm trying to line up and see if it's that, right?
brush
That
piles and
tiny little
different
spot
things
right
like
there is owned by
that.
the
They
town.
had
Where?
concerns.
Right there.
Where are you clicking?
Different
So
materials.
that little spot right there.
That's,
So,
that's different though.
but that's not on the street.
Yeah.
See all this surrounding it? That's all his.
Yeah,
And this is his, and this is his, and that's all wetland. And so here's Lake Street, right?
mm-hmm.
And there's that little spot. Is he encroaching on town property?
This is his property,
Right, are you sure?
yes.
Because, then where's that little section of town property? Because here's,
I don't think there's any town property back there.
watch,
They're supposed to be.
I mean, maybe somebody donated it for nothing
Right.
because it was unbuildable.
yeah,
If it's zoned unbuildable.
yeah. See, but this
so-
GIS map was updated a week ago.
So I learned this, and I don't know if the other board members or you know this, Jeremy, but when you go downstairs, they have a completely different number system and coding system, unbuildable, buildable, which is different than what conservation uses and the planning board. Because some of the things that are listed as unbuildable downstairs with the system that they use, if they were to come up and see us with plans and things like that, could actually be buildable lots with orders of conditions.
So the,
It's not just wetlands when we go downstairs and talk to anybody that it's just unbuildable.
the code that I got from is Mass GIS,
Yes,
and that was downloaded from the town.
and that's been updated as of the end of fiscal year 2022, so October 31st was updated.
The reason it's unbuildable is because it's 0 feet from a perennial stream.
Right.
No,
Right.
I understand, but what I'm saying is there's been no site visit yet. None of the board members have gone out. Jeremy, after we vote you in and stuff, can you see the town clerk and just put in your COA paper for the selectmen, just about this, because you would have to recuse yourself from discussions because you're the complainant. And I don't want you in trouble for it or use it as a loophole. So we need a vote for this one to do a site visit. We need to let Mr. Diaz know that he's in violation of the Wetlands Protection Act. Ask him to come and visit us on 12/27.
Okay.
And also to have a site visit done before 12/27. Do you want to visit it when you visit his other property?
Maybe we'll get to be real good friends. Maybe we'll take a walk in the woods, I don't know.
It's up to you, or maybe one of the rest of us, one of the other.
We'll see how it goes.
See
On the
how it
first
goes,
site
see.
visit, see, maybe he'll just jump in his truck and we'll go to the other one. We'll see.
Well, we can maybe,
So,
would you
do
like
them
to
both
try
on the same
to?
day.
Yeah, can you see if he'll do it for the same?
He's
day?
already gonna be annoyed with me, so let's just do them both on the same day. It seems like he doesn't want the encroachment. That's why he's saying just one person.
So do you, will make a motion to request 0 Pine Street come in? No, we do a site visit and then come in for the 27th.
Yeah,
And he has to be informed that he's in violation of the
Yeah,
Wetlands Protection Act and things in the town
Yeah,
bylaws.
let's make a motion to inform Mr. Diaz that he's in violation of the Wetland Protection Act in relation to number 0 Pine Street North, and that we'd like to do a site visit. And he's to come in for the 27th.
I'll say.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, now let's vote him in.
And last but not least, we have interviewed Mr. Gillespie. We were all here for the interview, and then we had other applicants. Memory serves me correctly, believe that Mr. Gillespie was the best fit to join us as the associate member to conservation, where he could join discussions and things like that, but he wouldn't be a voting member yet, but he can be used to make quorum when we do not have quorum. And when there's no quorum, Jeremy, it would be the only time you would have voting rights, because you'd be acting as a full body, so the board has a quorum. Did that come out right?
Yes.
I'm starting a little bit
That's okay.
because our long meeting proceeds.
All right, so make a motion to accept Jeremy as an associate member of the board.
And I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Jeremy, welcome to the board. Now that you've been in, you have 30 days to visit the town clerk. She will get you your little card. and-
Yeah, I have one already because I'm on the beautification committee, so then I'll fill out my conflict of
I need a
interest.
new
Yeah,
card.
just
This is
for-
my doggy.
But I don't
This
understand.
for one.
Yes.
But do you have, did you already do your
Ethics.
training on ethics, your open meeting law and all of those?
No,
It's easy.
So how long have you been on beautification?
like, there's no training on that because it's a committee.
There's
there's a COA.
It follows the open meeting law, you have to do the training.
So who do I
There's
go
4
to?
trainings that you should have to take.
Click online.
Okay.
Yeah.
Certificate.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So the open meeting law is online, ethics are online. There's 2 others. The last 2 might be combined with one, but the clerk.
The clerk will send you the link.
Okay.
She'll give you everything you need. And anybody that follows the open meeting law should have it done because it's open meeting law training.
It's complex.
So
Yeah,
we'll
it's the
be,
ethics in relation to open meeting law in
so,
Massachusetts.
and you'll learn what you can and can't do, how you're not supposed to talk in email, in a quorum, blah, 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 blah. And my last and only other update is my house got super sick and there's been no updates on the educational forums since the last update, but it was only because We went Girl Scout camping on Halloween, and then we had a round of COVID, and then we had Thanksgiving, and then the public pastry dish opened. And I have no idea what my kids brought home from school, but they were home, and then mom got it, and then.
Oh, that's gonna go around.
And
Yeah.
then, now it's Christmas, so.
Yeah.
By the time, but it will be done and ready for the spring. So I
Okay.
haven't forgotten about you and your offer. I'm not ignoring you, Steve.
No, we'll get there. We'll get it done.
You know what I mean? But instead of trying to get it done, we'll have feel like crap and being agitated and maybe upset people with my lovely sick attitude, that it'd just be better than me. And then we'll just get it all done correctly, and it'll be fantastic, and everyone will be involved.
Okay, make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you guys, so sorry to rush on.
No, apologies.